Hey friends, welcome to Knit 2 Cultivate 2. This is primarily a fiber arts podcast, but I get up to all kinds of shenanigans while homeschooling my kids. My name is Emily Wood and I live in Midland, Michigan with my husband and 2 kiddos. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for checking back in. I'm super excited to sit and chat with you guys. I'm recording a little later than I would have liked, but my daughter got the flu and that kind of upset our entire week. So it's been a minute. But I don't have many announcements to make. However, I do want to announce the first quarterly giveaway winner, Sandy Donaldson. Email me at knit2cultivate2@gmail.com. It's below as well in the description box, and we can pick your colors that you want dyed up for your yarn. I'm excited to hear from you. You made so many cool projects these past 3 months. And in addition to that, I'm going to post the second quarterly giveaway video. And there's not going to be a theme, it's just going to be any finished object. This is to grow community and to reward you guys for coming and checking in with me, or for treating you guys for coming and sharing your arts with me. All right, I don't have anything else to announce, so let's get to knitting. The first finished objects that I want to show you are actually old finished objects. However, I had only taken pictures of one of them and the ends still needed to be woven in on both projects. Well, I finally did that and took some pictures. So let me remind you, I made the Get It Girl bra top out of these gorgeous yellow, magenta, and teal speckles. I dyed this yarn using, I think it's Knitpicks Swish Worsted. And I have no idea what colors the dye were, but it's a cropped, it's supposed to be a bralette, but it hits to my waist. So it's more like a cropped tank top for me, or like an exercise top. And I made, oh, what is this called? Look at My Holes by Jessie Made Designs. And I think I have it inside out. I do. And I made this using, I think it's Luminescence is what it's called, by Knitpicks. I got this at the Knitpicks warehouse sale, which I've talked about so much because it was so amazing. And I wanted to wear this over top of the bralette. I did add length to it. Since I was going to wear it on top of something cropped, I wanted it to be like at least hit my high-waisted pants. And so I thought together they'd go really well. And I finally have a picture to show you, and I might take some better pictures to show you because it wasn't a great picture. And it wasn't in snug pants, they were kind of loose pants, just what I had on. So I'm not sure that's the look I'm gonna go for, or if it'll be something more like a tank top or a pair of leggings or something, but we'll see. Regardless, I'm really excited for that this summer. The next finished object I have is the Faye Summer Top. Oh, it's by Irene. I'll put her name up because I forgot her last name. And it is made using a chainette. Actually, I think it's more braided than chainette, but a braided construction yarn of merino and linen blend. I used a merino and cotton blend that was a really good substitute, but it has these awesome ruffles. Oh, and these berries or baubles, cables, and it's drop shouldered and it's super cute. All right, let's talk about the pattern. The pattern's great. I have no complaints about the pattern. I have complaints about what I chose to do with the pattern. I used a stretchy bind off and did not need to. I really shouldn't have. Along the collar and the ruffles, it steams flat and stays that way. The bottom doesn't. The bottom rolls up and is gross. The bottom just rolls up and it doesn't do that. Maybe because there's just more movement, I'm not sure. But I think what I'm gonna do is rip out this bind off and just do a standard bind off because it does really bother me. The rest of it I think is good and it looks nice. It kind of looks like a decorative edge that goes along with that purl bump row. So I don't mind it, but then I also am worried that I'm not gonna like that the bind offs don't match. And yeah, I know everybody's gonna say you're not gonna think about that, but I am gonna think about that. So we'll see what I decide to do. Maybe I'll try to steam it one more time, but I did steam it twice, so I really just think it's the nature of a hem. So the other thing is, because I use cotton, it does not drape in the same manner as the model does. I'll show you a picture of it on. And this picture was actually before I steamed it a second time, and I opened up these twisted rib sections a little more so that it was more drapey on the sides. It was kind of drapey in the front and then cinched in the sides, and not because of the knitting, just because it wasn't steamed open enough. And so I went ahead and redid that because it's that ribbing. I'm really happy with this. It's gonna be an awesome summer shirt. And I'm just really excited about it. I'm gonna either wear it with jeans when it's like spring-like, or just a pair of jean shorts in the summer. I absolutely will probably knit another one of these. I don't know if I'll do the designs, but at least the shell of the pattern with the ruffles I love. So maybe I'll knit another one of these, kind of a vanilla version with a cottolin. Oh, I don't think that's the yarn I'm thinking about. I'll look it up and think. But there was a Knitpicks cotton blend that would be a good yarn. No, a linen blend is what I mean. A linen blend that would drape more. So we'll see, but regardless, I'm really excited about this. I'm not sure that pastel pink on my face is my color, but we'll see. I like it. The last finished object I have is the Camille top. And it is by, I forgot the designer, so I'll put it up. I'll have links below for everything, so you'll be able to directly get to it in the description box. But this is the Camille top. Oh, I love it so much, and it is so good. The only thing I'm going to do, first off, no, I'm gonna go back a step, hang on. Let's just talk about how amazing it is first. It's actually kind of big. So she kept saying, if you want a tighter version, and I'm like, well, I don't need a snug version. And I wish I had done the tighter option. So that's a part when you're in this front, when you're crossing. I talked about this a little bit. You rearrange stitches, and that's how everything looks crossed over. But she was like, you can do, I don't know, there was an option for a tighter fit on what to do, and I chose not to do that, and I really wish I had. It's okay, but this is like flapping open. So one thing I am gonna do is tack this portion just up to the neckline again. And so in the picture that I took, I have a pair of like black work pants on. And in the picture I took, I have my hand holding it down so that I can see like what it will look like when I seam that one piece together. I think it'll look cute as a tank top, but I also think it'll be really cute with like a little kimono type top over it, like a sheer type fabric, right? But yeah, I'm so happy with this. It is super cute, and the back is not crossed, it's just normal, but it is nice. It's really flattering as a loose top, I think, but I do think I would have preferred a more fitted version. So I'm sure I'll make another one. I do think she suggested trying it on as you go because all bodies are different, and I'm not great with that. I just want to follow a pattern. I don't want to put my stitches on yarn or even a barber cord I'm not thrilled with. So I hate doing that personally, putting on half knit sweaters, but I did this time, and I'm really glad I did, because I think so I stopped where I kind of attached everything together, and then you just knit length. I needed like 10 repeats, which were 2 rows less than what the pattern called for to get to where I wanted the peplum top. And where I wanted the peplum top, I think was a little lower than where it sat on the model. So I needed way less stitches because I have a super short torso, clearly. So anyway, I do highly recommend that, but even so, I wish I would have tried it on again before I added the peplum top. Although at that point, what was I gonna do? It was still a looser fit. I was still gonna knit it. I don't think I would have ripped it out. Well, I don't know. I probably wouldn't have. But anyway, those are the things I would change next time, is that I would have gone for the tighter fit. Oh, and they didn't tell you what kind of bind off to use at the bottom of the ruffles. No complaining. I'm not complaining about that. It's just so I didn't know how I wanted it. And I read online, and I didn't think this was gonna work, but they said, you know, just bind off purlwise. It did not work. I had to aggressively steam it to get it to just roll a little bit. So well, maybe I need to take this bind off out too. No, actually it does lay like really well. So I don't mind it. Anyway, I love how this is, and I'm so excited to wear it. I love the idea of wearing something over it and then pulling it off in the summer. So that is 3 new like summer top type things that I have when Michigan decides that it's summer, which is not today. But we did have a really beautiful day 2 days ago, and we stayed outside like all afternoon. So we got a taste of it, and now we're excited for summer. That's all the finished objects I've got. Let's move on to works in progress. So my first work in progress that I'm going to show you is the Battenberg blanket that I've been working on. And I just want to show you the new colored squares that I have. So this was the Wicked Knittah. And I don't know the colorway. It was something I had in stash and lost the ball band for. And so I have a whole skein, and it is a gradient. So it goes from this like navy, it was a sock blank, to a kind of like ballerina pink. And so I'm gonna knit that entire skein for this blanket. And then when I dyed, I talked about this a while ago, the yarn for my Miserina sweater, I dyed this as the contrast and just was heavy-handed with the dye, and it wasn't going to be enough contrast. So I ended up not using this as the contrast, and I'm using something else, but I had a whole skein of Knitpicks capretta in this beautiful purple. So I knit the rest of it after I did my swatches for the sweater 4 squares, and I used that whole skein. I am up to 280 squares, I think, of the variegated multicolored squares. I know I said I wasn't going to use that yarn in my basement, the Knitpicks capretta, for a blanket, but oh my gosh, it really is way softer than the other yarns. I'm still probably going to get cheap yarn, but that's okay. But they're so cute. I love these. They're so fun to work on, and this is the last color, and I cannot remember what I used this yarn for at all. It drives me crazy. But anyway, they're all super cute, and I can't wait to start putting them all together. But I think it takes like 10 minutes-ish for me to do one. Anyway, I just hope all the colors go together. That's what I'm a little more worried about. We'll see. So that's going well. The last thing I'm working on is the Miserina, and I cast it on. I am using Knitpicks capretta. This was, I don't know what I dyed it with, but I dyed this solid color. And this was Adalaide fiber. Oh, I don't of the ball band. I'll put it up. And I don't know the sock base or colorway off the top of my head, but again, I'll put it all up. And so this is clearly the color work and the main body. And this is what I've got so far. I have the neckband and this lacy section done. There are 2x2 cables in between the color work, and I've started the color work tulips. They are so awesome. And I keep thinking this is such a loose gauge for color work, and I'm literally spreading the stitches on my right hand needle as much as possible before stranding the yarn. But I am spot on gauge for the color work. So I think I just need to keep going with it and know that it's not gonna be tight like normal color work, which I think will be fine. It's just really loose gauge. But it's gonna look great, and I swatched the body of it. The body has 2 different options. You can do an eyelet version or this purl bump version, and I like the purl version better. It's kind of textured and drapes really well. I knit 4 swatches to get that right, and that's on me because I should have known to go up 2 sizes once at least, but still, I knit quite a few swatches. The yarn is amazing. This capretta is just so good. But yeah, I'm really excited about this, and I'm kind of excited to get past the color work. Not that I hate color work, it just makes me anxious. It makes me anxious because you have to keep the tension even, and you want to make sure you're stranding your yarn loose enough. And it turns out I have like 3 sweaters I've made with color work that I like. I think my stitches look even. I think it looks good. It doesn't pucker. And I'm still anxious about it. So it's not based in reality, but it's the case. And with the additional features, like the cabling, it does make it a little more complicated. So another thing I did though was that I added a jacquard ladder back float, or a ladder back jacquard float, in the middle of this cable. And it seems like a silly decision, but I stand by it. The only time it's tricky is when you're doing your twist row. And so you need 2 cable needles to do that. So that can be tricky, but I made that Lord of the Rings hat, and it had a cable with 2 needles that you do some to the front, some to the back, and it's not that bad. It's only 1 row every so often, but I'll be happy to put the color work away and work on the body because I haven't had some like vanilla knitting in a while, and I've been crocheting as my vanilla project. So I'm excited to get to that pattern part. So this will be my 4th new summer look for this summer when I finish it. I'm really excited. I'm so glad I started working on summer stuff so early. I'm really gonna start thinking about that in the future. But anyway, I'm excited. For plotting and purchases, I have not really bought much. One thing we did get, and I'm not gonna pull it up because I haven't taken it out of the box yet, and it has like old clay on it, so it's gonna like fall out. But we got a kid's pottery wheel that looks like it should work at the thrift store, and it was very cheap, but it looks like it's in decent condition and that somebody might have just outgrown it. So I'm really excited to try that out to see if the kids like that, or if, it even works. But that's a fun one we're gonna try sometime soon this week. One thing I did buy that's kind of silly. I don't know how many of you go to Aldi, but I am a huge Aldi fanatic. I love it. We go there all the time. And they had a line of they have an aisle of Aldi finds. And so things that rotate, that are like house things, or they're themed, garden sometimes, or whatever. So that one of their themes was like an Aldi themed clothing line. And like they had Adidas, they looked like Adidas slip-on sandals, but they said Aldidas, like Aldi Edis. Oh, perfect. So funny. But they had, it was all this blue and rainbow stuff. And I like had to get this crossbody bag because it's a perfect knitting bag. Look at this. Like, it's perfect for a pair of socks or a pair of mittens or a muscle burrow. I think it would fit. And it has a back pocket. So like you could put some stuff in there that's not messing with your knitting. Listen, I get it's ridiculous, but I do love this so much. Has their logo on it. But anyway, I got the last one that wasn't the gray, and I was so excited. Aldi Gear belt band. Yep, I'm here for a knitting fanny pack. Absolutely. The only other project that I'm kind of planning right now is the Timberline sweater that I did not knit for my husband this past year. I ended up using the yarn for the Millie for Men. And we decided on a deep garnet color tweed from Knitpicks. We're gonna do Knitpicks Wool of the Andes. There was another tweed wool that we were looking at that was the same weight on Knitpicks, and the red was like a candy apple red, and so he really wanted, they just didn't have that many choices of colors, and Wool of the Andes had a lot. And he usually wears a t-shirt underneath his sweater, like a Hanes t-shirt, so if it's a little scratchy to him, it won't be that big of a deal. So I think that's what we're gonna go with, and that'll be, I think that's the last project on my Make 9 that doesn't need to have hand spun finished first. So the rest of my projects I think are all hand spinning or holiday themed. Like I have, one second, all of these advent calendar mittens that I'm making for my fireplace so that I have a reusable advent calendar for my kids, and I can just buy a bag of chocolate and put chocolates in it and little nice things for them to read. I think that's way better. So that's more holiday themed, but other than those two things, I've now cast on all of the knitting only projects. So spinning wise, I am still spinning the alpaca, but I'm not really getting far right now. We're kind of at the end rush of the semester, and I'm feeling it. I feel the end of semester rush, and students are starting to get concerned with their grades, and it's just a lot of extra, I wouldn't say stress, but emotional labor or things that are hard for me. So like things that drain me, emotionally drain me. So it feels like I need more recharging time at this phase of the semester. And so even like last night, we got home early on a night that we're usually home at 8. And my husband and I just sat on the couch next to him. I didn't knit a stitch. He was playing a game and we were chit-chatting casually here and there, but like I just didn't do anything. And so I know once it's nice out and I'm sitting outside with my kids and our neighbors that I will pull that wheel out and do a lot of spinning over the summer. So I'm excited about that, but that I probably will touch in May once my semester's over. But yeah, so I'm getting ready for the Timberline, and then hopefully by the time I get through the Miserina and the Timberline, I'll have the alpaca done for the next project. Yeah, I guess there was more planning than I thought I had. I don't think I have many big things for the homeschool life section, but one cool thing we did over this period time was learned how to tap a maple tree. Our neighbor and really good friends that we're friends with the whole family taps their maple tree every year. And so they had us come over and we started that. So cool. We got to taste the sap coming out of the tree, which tastes like water almost. And you have to boil it down to get the higher concentration of the sugars. And they have to boil it outside because of the heat and residue that evaporates off. It can literally peel the wallpaper off your walls. So they do it on a propane burner in their fire pit, and it has to run like all day. So we got to learn all of that, and that was fun. And of course, then we had to wait like a week until they filled their 15-gallon bucket, and they boiled it down and gave us some maple syrup, and it was amazing. It was so fun. And it was a 5-minute walk from my house. So that was great. Yeah, that was really cool. Co-op has been cool too. We're gonna do a cool activity this week, and I didn't want to wait to tell you about it. We're going to model an chemical oil spill in the ocean and talk about hydrophilic versus hydrophobic molecules, as well as how soap traps the oil molecules and why. And so we're going to have a little bin with water. I'm going to have multiple ones, and we'll put oil in it, and we're going to try and clean it up in different methods. So cotton balls, a spoon, and in the end, we'll use Dawn dish soap, which is really actually used in a lot of chemical spills. We'll also talk about the effects on wildlife, which seems kind of morbid, but we're not going to talk about like how it kills animals. We're going to talk about how we can help animals and how, birds, how it affects their feathers. So I have feathers that we're going to put in the oil and see how it affects it, and then work on cleaning it off, because you can clean it off. And again, I can't be the only one that remembers all the oil spill commercials for Dawn dish soap, right? Like they literally use that as like a marketing thing. Yeah, and I have tons of books. We're going to talk about methods, how they use these to clean. This is not some like big environmentalist thing. It's just there are so many multiple topics that we can bring into this conversation that are science related, and it's hands-on. So I've been trying just to pick activities I want to do with my kids to take to co-op, but I'm really excited about this one. And I've been thinking about like our summer plans. I think we'll have like a park meetup and a beach day every week, which I think will be nice. But we'll stop meeting up. But yeah, I couldn't wait to tell you about the chemical spill one, because that is going to be so cool. We had my sister and dad come into town too, which was awesome. And it was nice to have the kids take a little break from school and get to hang out with some family. We're getting excited for spring trips and our summer to start. My husband and I are done teaching at the end of April. So our summer starts in May. However, we still do school during that time. And, clearly this is when we get all our house stuff, our projects done. So we've got a lot of things. We're excited to get started, and we're just ready. We're ready for summer and the preparation period. So I use my summer to plan all of our homeschool stuff, so that I just go into my PDF every week and make our lists of what we're doing. So I organize, I have all the labs ready, I have everything done, book lists, so that I just say, okay, it's this week. These are the books I need from the library. So I have all of that done for the summer. This year, we'll have my teaching schedule before the summer. This past year, for those of you who don't know, I started teaching halfway through the semester at a new university. I'm a math teacher, and I am just adjuncting. I'm teaching 2 courses part-time. And I was taking over for somebody who had left for valid reasons, no hard feelings, XYZ. And so it was kind of, and still is, a whirlwind. But this year it dawned on me that I'm going to have my work schedule ahead of time, so I can do my curriculum development and assignment planning and all of that over the summer. And so that was really probably the biggest barrier to getting our school days done, because I always had to write lecture notes and do homework assignments and all of this. And so next year I'll be able to be in a position where I'm just grading homeworks and teaching and that stuff during the school year, not writing. So I think that's really gonna streamline our days over next winter, but without making it my summer feel too overloaded either. But we are starting to think about what we're doing over the summer. I don't know if I've talked about it, but my husband might be teaching at a music camp over the summer, and we're not positive about that yet. So we're kind of waiting to see what our summer looks like. But of course, we'll make a trip to Columbus to see family, and we're gonna go out to Hershey again. I've been looking at fiber festivals. I haven't made my list yet for the year, but I do know that I'm gonna hit Yellow Springs, which was one close to where we lived in Columbus, and I do know that I'm hitting the Allegan, Michigan Fiber Festival. So those two I do think we're hitting. I think we're gonna try and camp at those, but I don't know. We'll see. I might also drop my kids off in Columbus and let them hang out with my mom and then go myself to Yellow Springs. So I haven't decided how we're gonna do that yet. My mom watches this and I haven't talked to her about this at all. This is sorry. All right. But anyway, actually she'd probably want to go to the festival. I guess the kids are coming. Okay. Anyway, so that's fun. But I need to see if there are any other fiber festivals that I want to hit up this year that are close by. I'm not sure we'll be doing any big trips over the summer since my husband might be teaching. I'm not sure which other ones we're going to hit this year. I haven't really started looking into that. I'm sure that's going to happen once May hits and I have time to think about it. But other than that, we're just really ready for warm weather and being able to do stuff outside. We can do stuff outside. It's just not as enjoyable, right? I don't want to be outside grading papers when it's cold. So we're just ready for outdoor time and summer, and it was a lot of snow this winter. Other than that, we just have our normal kind of routine going on, keeping up with chores and things like that. This is our busy time of the year. I usually still produce a lot of knitting, but it's our busy time of year. We're not doing as many fun activities and hands-on stuff, and hopefully we'll be doing more of that over the summer. But honestly, that's about all I've got. We didn't have anything big or exciting happen in the last 2 weeks. We had a sickness. It kind of was just business as usual, which isn't that so nice sometimes? Gosh, it's good when you have a normal week, but it's a good week, right? Like it went smoothly. Yesterday was one of those days. It was one of those days where literally it was just all good. Everything was good. It went smoothly. We were at work and the kids were amazing. Got tons of schoolwork done, absolute wonderful attitudes, came home, had no arguments getting to bed, had a wonderful moment with my oldest where he was amazingly self-regulating, and I could see that all these conversations we're having are really making a difference. And then I got to hang out with my husband. Like, it was just one of those normal days that we didn't hit a snag in the road at all. It was awesome. They happen so far and few between, right? But like those normal days, those are just so good. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really, really does help my channel get out there and let other people see what I'm doing. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week.